Thank you so much for joining me for my session. I'm Jan Lee, Jan F. Lee, Jan Lee, Jan. And this will be Marketing and Communications Basics for Nonprofits and Small Businesses. So just like the title says, we'll be going over some basics, but I do want to survey you all and see where you all, because if you want to go more in depth, I'm more than happy to the best of my ability, but just wanted to put that out there. So a little bit about me, my background. I have an undergraduate degree from Johns Hopkins University right down the street. That was in writing seminars. And then I got my master's from University of Maryland University College in marketing management and a certificate in integrated direct marketing. And shout out to my amazing boss. I started with the Banneker-Douglass Museum back in March. And just as a note, I do marketing consulting on the side. And then just a little bit about me personally. I love cats. This is my cat, Roger. And I love to travel. I just went to Costa Rica and Nicaragua. And I would really recommend, I'm going to start telling everybody, I would recommend Nicaragua. It was pretty awesome. It was beautiful. All right. So what are we tackling in this presentation? I really just want to go over like how to create a marketing and communications plan, just like an outline on how to, a guideline on how to attack your goals and what you want to keep in mind as you're going through that process. I'll go over some tools and resources to support your efforts. Keeping in mind, like I said, if you're a small business or a nonprofit, your funds may be limited or you're wearing multiple hats. And so I'm going to just share some tools that I've used that are either free, easy to use, to get you started. And then definitely we'll do Q&A. And like I said, we could definitely, if you have questions about any topic, we can go in depth at that time or wait till Q&A, either one. And then I do have an activity at the end if you're interested, where we'll actually kind of go through and map out something. And it'd be great if it is something that you're actually working on, we can workshop it if you want. All right. So I'm going to start with a video. I figured I have 45 minutes, so the video is about 10 minutes, but it shouldn't feel that way. I really like this video. Her name is Keisha Brewer, and she's talking about strategic communication. So the title of her video is, It's Not Manipulation, It's Strategic Communication. So let's go ahead and watch this.
You may know me as the queen of hip hop, but today I'm the queen of small.
All right, here we go. Oop, wait, you're not seeing this. 1 second. How can I share this with you? Can it play in this? Oh, thank you. Yes, please. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Good morning, good morning. I'm excited to be your first speaker of today. By a show of hands, how many of you have heard of the phrase, it's not what you say, it's how you say it? Do you remember the person who told that to you? Tell them they lied. Repeat after me. What you say is just as important as how you say it. Your turn. What you say is just as important as how you say it. And that is called strategic communications. And strategic communications is probably the very thing you've been needing this entire time to help you get what you need out of life. See, most people stop going after the bigger things that they want in life simply because, well, they're just not getting it. But what they don't realize is that they're causing some sort of resistance in the way that they're communicating that's helping them
Maybe we
not
can just
get
pull it
what
over
they
at
want out
the,
of life.
no,
How many of you have been in a situation where no matter how much you talk and talk and tell someone your viewpoint, they're just not getting it, right? No matter how much you change your approach and your delivery, they're just not understanding your viewpoint, whether that's to a family member, whether that's to your spouse, whether that's to your boss, they're just not getting it. I think we've all experienced that type of frustration. Today, I'm going to give you the tools to strategically communicate through all of those issues and combat that resistance. And I'm going to do that first by taking you through two parallel situations. Very real situations to me. One personal and one professional. Starting with professional. So I started my career in communications a few years ago, starting with news writing and reporting, then going on to advertising specialist, then landing a job as a communications specialist. In my communications specialist role, I was able to do things such as email marketing, mission-driven partnerships, writing speeches for the CEO, things of that nature. On the first day of my communications specialist role, my boss said, I know this is a lot, it's your first day, you're supposed to be doing paperwork, things of that nature, but do you mind if you reach out to Google and see if they can land a partnership with our next event next month? And I'm like, you're right. That's a very big ask for the first day. I am supposed to be doing paperwork. Where's HR? So, either way, it's my job, right? It's the first day. You want to make a big impression. I shoot my shot. That's millennial talk for just get it done. And so, I look up Google's mission. I figure out what they're interested in, the type of partnerships that they're interested in. Then I think about my company's mission. What type of partnerships are we interested in? What is our mission? What are we trying to convey? I wrap that up into an email. I send it to their communications department. I express the need, send it on its way. Transition into my personal life. I get home and I'm scrolling on Instagram like us millennials do, and I get a DM from my friend Jessica. And she's like, oh my gosh, Keisha, the guy I like just DM'd me. I'm like, okay. She's like, and he liked my picture on Instagram. Okay, so what do you want to do now? She's like, well, you're a communication specialist now. Teach me how to communicate with him. As if that's what we do, right? So I'm like, okay, well, I'll go with it. What's the goal? What do you want him to do? What do you want to get out of the conversation? She says, well, I want him to be my boyfriend. Again, it was a like on Instagram, right? How far are we going to take this? But I let her keep going. And I'm like, okay, so what do you know about this man? She's like, well, I know that our values, they pretty much go together because on his Instagram, I see that he posts music and I like music, and he likes food and I like food, and he likes his mom, I like my mom. And I'm like, okay, sure, fine, okay. And I'm like, out of all the people on Instagram that he's engaging with, why you? And she goes on to tell me about how she thinks their missions of being successful in the entertainment industry will align. All right, so here's what I tell her to do. Slide into his DM, that's millennial talk for send him a private message, and just organically have a conversation like you normally would. Allow him to organically express his values, allow him to organically express his interests, and then you express yours and see how they mutually align. At the end of it, see if you guys can go out, hang out, grab a drink or something. Cool. Long story short, 6 months later, here they are. I played matchmaker. Kudos to me. Moving on into my professional life, I go back to work the next day, and my boss is like, Keisha, remember how I told you to email Google about that partnership? Yeah, less than 12 hours ago. She's like, well, they emailed us this morning, and they said they actually want to partner on the event. And it was at that very moment that I realized I need a raise. But it was also at that moment that I realized I just strategically communicated in two very different scenarios using the same exact method. And that method is what I'm going to share with you today. Now let's take a step back. What does strategic communications really mean? How many of you have taken a strategic communications class or a communications course by a show of hands? Great. So what you probably learned is something along the lines of strategic communications is communicating the best message through the right channels, measured against well-considered organizational communication-specific goals. Great, right? But through my two scenarios, what you can probably see is that strategic communications is simply communicating with purpose while showcasing value in order to achieve a goal. And at the heart of it all, strategic communications helps you evoke specific responses out of your target audience, whether that be a spouse, a love interest, your boss. And in those responses, it helps you get what you want out of the situation as well. Now, you can also be thinking, is she teaching us how to manipulate people? Maybe, but not really, because strategic communications creates mutually beneficial situations. Strategic communications allows both parties to feel like they're getting what they want out of the deal, okay? So, if you were paying attention, here's what I did in both scenarios to help them get what they want out of the situation. Number one, I identified the goal. In the professional situation, the goal was to land the partnership with Google. In the personal situation, the goal was to land the boyfriend. Step two, understand your audience. In the professional situation, I researched everything about Google to understand what type of partnerships they like to align with. In the personal situation, I was able to allow Jessica to go into his Instagram and say, what does he like to do? Understand what his values are. Step three, communicate the value. Communicating the value in the partnership with Google looked like helping them understand what they get out of a partnership with us. In the personal situation, she communicated what value their interests would have with one another. And step four, express the need. In both situations, I was able to use the value that they both shared to express the need that they both want. And so by doing this and using this method, I'm able to combat the resistance commonly felt when people are communicating through challenges. Even like today, I was able to use strategic communication standing right here on this stage. And not because I was able to memorize my lines on here in speech, and not because I was able to put together this presentation, but because I took you through those same 4 steps standing right here. Number one, I identified the goal, which was to get you guys to understand what strategic communications really was. 2, I took the time to understand my audience by asking you guys 2 questions to help me know who was in the room today. Step 3, I communicated the value of what strategic communications can do in your life. And step 4, I expressed the need for why you need strategic communications. And see, usually the reason why people are faced with a lot of resistance in the way that they're communicating is because they're skipping these 4 steps, or at least one of them. For example, if you don't identify the goal, you'll be speaking without purpose. You ever had those conversations where you realize it started off one way and it ended another and you're trying to figure out how you even got there? Didn't identify the goal. Step 2. Step 3. I was able to communicate the value and then express the need here on this stage. Why do you need strategic communications? Why this is going to help you in your life, and how you can combat that resistance. So at the heart of it all, realize, it's not what you say. What you say is just as important as how you say it. Thank you.
Yay, all right.
When we were a motorized bicycle company.
Stop. Okay. All right, let me get my presentation back up. I have to pull it over here. Thank you. Close it. Oh. Oh, thanks. Do you think it could just display over there? Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. No, it's okay. Thank you. All right. So, yeah, I really like this video because she talks about personal and professional usage. And so I'm basically going to use this as the outline for the rest of my presentation. So we're going to go through those steps that she talked about, which is identifying the goal, understanding your audience, communicating value, and expressing need. I just wanted to ask you all, do you all have any thoughts that you wanted to share about the video or any questions, anything you might want to share? No? No worries, it's all good. You did? Okay, good, good. Yes. Awesome. All right, thank you. Go back. All right, so before I actually start there, I did want to survey my audience, and I did want to ask, if you want to do like show of hands, how many of you are dealing with marketing and communications on a daily basis right now? Yes, okay. Okay, cool, okay. How many of you are new to marketing and communications? Okay, okay, cool, all right. And how many are you just maybe personally interested versus professionally interested in marketing and communications? Okay, awesome. Okay, I just want to make sure I reiterate this part. Yeah, if it's you want to go more in depth on something, we certainly can. So feel free to ask. All right. So starting with this, what is your goal? I wasn't going to spend too much time on this, but this is just some ideas to think about. You can have a project-based goal or a campaign-based goal. You can have multiple goals in one campaign, and I'll go into that a little bit later, is that it's almost like a tree. It's going to branch off because you're going to want to approach those different goals, even though it's maybe the same thing, like an event or fundraiser, but you're going to want to branch off from there. So you want to identify your goal or goals, really. It could be an organizational goal that's just built into your mission and vision, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. And like I said, it could be to promote an event, increase your followers or subscribers, or raise $1 million, right? All right. All right, so going into that, next, who is your audience? Thinking about that. Consider the following about your audience, and we'll go into a little bit more after this. So one thing to think about is the demographics of your audience. And that can include, but is not limited to, age, sex or gender, education, race, ethnicity, etc. Their interests, shopping, beauty, fashion, sports, music, things like that. Attitudes and psychographics. What are their hopes? What are their concerns? What do they think about? Things like that. And culture. Yes, so psychographics is how does your audience think, really? So kind of like, the hopes, what are their hopes, their concerns? It could also kind of be like, what are their political views, but then kind of even going into that, what are their beliefs?
I'm sorry, so what's the difference when you talk about culture and demographics? Because isn't it one of the same almost?
It could be, yeah, it could be, especially when ethnicity falls under demographics. But culture could speak to a millennial culture, their generation, or, they may be of a particular race, but maybe a neighborhood or city in which they grew up in had a particular culture that you are wanting to target versus one of these other things that may be more black and white. Culture is less black and white, I guess you could say too.
When I think about demographics, I think about mental health or the field that I work with, medically fragile.
Absolutely, yeah. Anything else? Okay. And then I'll just add to this, in order to create useful products, services, or solutions that need, this is definitely going to help you get there to have a good understanding. Developing a reasonable understanding of why they want your content, your product, your service. Stepping into their shoes, and this helps you to do that. Do you all have questions about how to determine this information? If it's not,
Sir. And it's say product or service. So when you say product or service, it's all for you to put your mind on what would you do, because we don't have a product. Most non-profit is, we're not selling something, you know what I mean? And so I think that's one of my biggest problems is knowing what we receive for service. Like if I try to create a brand, it's just like we're not selling something. And most of the time when you go to marketing site like Google Ads and stuff, they ask you for service, and then they give you the list of product or service, and nothing there is, for non-profit or religious.
Well, I want to take a step back and think about the goal, because you could think of a particular product service, like if your goal is to increase your congregants or visitors. The service or product is your Sunday church service. Is it your Sunday school? Is it your when you provide food? Food giveaway. So you could think about it like that, even though it's not like a physical, or you all create mugs with the church on it, But yeah, it's not tangible, but it's something that you do want to give people and or have them come and participate in. So you can think about it that way. Does that help a little bit? Okay. Like what might be one of the goals that you all have?
For example, increase subscriber to our channel or following. And now,
Okay.
service that increases subscribers.
Do you do live stream? Do you do live stream of your church, or are your services live streamed, or do you? Okay.
Yeah.
So one of your audience is either your Facebook group or your website, and you're trying to increase not only because you do live stream, you have people who are outside of your local area
Right.
that can come and view your services, and they can join that way. So that could also be your audience, is outside of your local demographic.
And the live stream, the product, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Thank you. Yeah. All right. So I'll be going into a little bit more about how to determine that in a moment. I want to go into analytics. But I wanted to dive into audience just a little bit more to ask the question, well, who is your target audience? Because you can have a general audience, especially like a church. You want everybody to come to church, right?
That is so hard. Because even though I want everyone to come to church, it seems like because, you know, they see my face, they just automatically assume everyone needs to be African American. And so, but I do want our service to reach everyone, regardless of your diversity. But once they see like my photo there, they just, it doesn't matter who you choose for your target audience. You understand what I mean?
You said when they see your photo?
Like, say for example, I want a diverse set of people.
Yes.
But I feel like once they see my photo, they just assume that everybody should be that age group or that race, all are African American. But I do want to reach everyone. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because the gospel's supposed to go to everyone, regardless of your age, your demographic. But I feel like sometimes that's the people that come over.
So I don't really go into branding in this presentation, but since you brought it up, I feel like that falls under that umbrella because it's the forward-facing facade, if you will, that you want to present to your audience. And so if that's your goal, you might want to use imagery like this.
That's what I was thinking, man.
Certainly you want to show your face, your beautiful face, but you can accompany it with photos like this so that people can see. People want to see themselves. People want to see themselves in the product, the service, whatever it is. So you can accompany it with that. So that kind of is, if you're trying to get a diverse audience, you can create a profile. But this in particular, I'm talking about really drilling down into creating a profile or persona to, again, really step into the shoes of that person. How do they think? How do they feel? What's going to get them to take action? What's going to pull on the heartstrings? And again, not manipulating, but they may be looking for this. They may be in need of it. That's another thing I love about her video, because it's not manipulation, it's mutually beneficial. And I love that it comes from that place, right? Especially if you're a nonprofit, small business, you have something great to offer. And you want to make sure that you're getting that across. It's not all about transaction, getting you people to buy. You know, it's a mutually beneficial transaction. So for example, just took out Claire out of the audience here. I don't know if that's her name, but she's aged 35 to 45. She lives in or near the city. She has a bachelor's degree, could be bachelor's degree plus, and her interests are history, social justice, literature, and brunch with friends. So you could create profiles, and different profiles, especially again, using the church. You might want to break it down by youth, your mid-range, senior. How do you target each of those populations and create a profile, you know? Or create a profile of a family, if a family is your target. What does that family look like? 2+ kids, you know. 2.5 kids, how they so, you know. Any other questions about this? Okay. All right, and then just another step with that, using audience analytics to choose your right channels. So it's kind of an intermediate slide here because we'll go into channels next. But data like this is very important. It is ever changing. As you all may know with Facebook, the demographic has changed over time. Started out as a college student platform. And now it is a hit. I don't really use that word, but it's up there, it's hit with the boomers. So data like this is out there. And so I'll just point out a few things that are interesting. Like I said, with Facebook, the people are now 25 to 34 and boomers. When it started out as a college platform. It is great for photos and links, information and live videos, strategies to think about local marketing, advertising, and relationships. And a con to consider is weak organic reach. Y'all may have heard about the algorithm. The algorithm's not letting my stuff show. It's kind of it's a real thing. Real quick, I was talking with a friend of mine, and he learned from somebody at Facebook that when you have too many words, and in particular, dates, locations, Facebook wants you to pay for that, so that's not going to show up as much as you may think. Yeah. And I'm trying to think too, I don't really go into in this presentation, but a few things I was thinking about with overcoming that. I do go into ads a little bit, which, you know, is what they want you to do, but that's where tagging is so important. Tagging people, tagging the organizations that you're working with, making them co-hosts on your Facebook events. It's like personally like, hey, this is going on, you know, if Facebook is not gonna help you get the word out. Generally know about YouTube. It's best for videos, but demographics 18 to 25, 26 to 35. Cons, video is resource heavy. Actually, don't really know resource heavy. Okay. Strategies, organic, SEO, search engine optimization. I don't go into that in this presentation, but if you have questions, I'll answer them to the best of my ability. And advertising. And just a note, YouTube advertising is through Google. Facebook and Instagram, as you may know, is tied together. And Instagram. 18 to 24, 25 to 34, generally millennial population. Content, inspiration and adventure, questions and polls. Strategy, e-commerce, organic, influencer. Cons, says high ad costs, but I personally don't agree with that, but you know, just got it off the internet. I didn't make that.
Instagram. 46 to 55.
46, LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
Yep, no, it's okay.
Oh.
Yep, Instagram is orange, yep, no, it's all good. Yeah, so we have Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, Snapchat. Yeah, the N is LinkedIn. Yep. Sorry, yeah. The little camera is Instagram.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, Snapchat at the bottom. For the teens, when you want to reach the youth, go to Snapchat. Or TikTok, exactly, 10 to 19. Yeah. Yeah, the green is TikTok, yep.
And TikTok.
Yes. It started off, it was originally called Musical.ly, and it was kids singing music songs. I mean, you know, singing songs and recording. Now it's everyone singing songs and recording, but yeah, that's where it started, yeah. Any other questions? Okay.
I'm surprised Reddit isn't.
Reddit? Well, that's a good point, yeah. I'm not even that familiar with it. What would be your thoughts on it? Oh, go ahead. Space 2. Oh, is that like a blog thing? Okay. See, I don't even know about that.
It's like a little thing they posted and stuff.
Let me write that down because I don't even know about that. See, I'm gonna need to look into that.
I think it's kind of like Snapchat, though. That's what it reminded me of.
Okay. Okay.
What's it called?
Space.
Yeah. Did you have thoughts on Reddit? Pros and cons? Yeah. It's like a forum base, right?
Yeah.
Question and answer
Yeah.
forum? Yeah.
REDDIT. It's a company that was started by Serena Williams' husband, Alexis Ohanian.
Yeah. It's a good resource. You know, if I'm Googling something, Reddit comes up pretty frequently, yeah. All right. All right, so I'm just touching on the surface, so a little bit more about analytics. So, at first glance, it's maybe like, eyes glaze over. But if you have analytics tied to your website, and different platforms provide different analytics, Wix is on my resource list. If you use something like Wix, they have built-in analytics. You can get Google Analytics tied to your website, so that is available and that's free. This is what this is, Google Analytics. And so you might just want to take some time, if you don't already, and just explore. Because as you can see here, you can get demographics about your site users here. Language, country, what city do they primarily come from? One thing I think is interesting too, like at the museum, we see DC, Baltimore, Annapolis, see the breakdown, and then the surrounding area, see that. You can also see, I didn't do a screenshot, but you can also see their behaviors. How long do they stay on pages? What are the top pages that they visit? And you can prioritize your website that way, because you can see, well, what is the information that they're most interested in? So if you have analytics, take time to explore. If not, there is Google Analytics that you just have to set up with your website. And then over here too, they have an interest tab. So yeah. Social media analytics. So you can figure out what works, what doesn't work, but also still on the topic of audience, age and gender, Facebook knows all, no. The breakdown. Do you have a primarily audience of women, men? And like I said, Facebook and Instagram, they're tied together, so they're all together in the Meta Suite. So there's been a lot of changes lately with the Meta Suite, the back end. And then it seems like it's layers too. So sometimes if you don't know to go into the doorway, you don't know what other information, but this is the Meta Suite. So if you want, I can show you how to get there if you don't, so I can come back to that later. Okay.
One of my friends sent I guess inbox the messenger saying Meta, opt out by this time. They're doing something for spatial recognition, and so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's out there. It's already out there. But
Yeah.
you can probably do your privacy and stuff like that. So it's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. I think it's coming.
Oh wow. Yeah, I didn't hear about that. Wow. Yeah.
If you travel, lately you went to Costa Rica. Did you fly to a major airport?
Yeah, they're I was La Viria. It's smaller than their other airport. Oh. Yes, it was DCA.
It was DC, it was small.
Okay.
I'm from Houston. When I flew out to Dominican Republic, I didn't even need my passport.
Really?
My face. I walked up to it, they said with my camera, and they said Rosa Spencer, C2A. Just like that.
You didn't have to opt in.
No, I already scanned my passport just to get to the thing, but they
So once you got to the gate.
ticket, no nothing. They just had my face came up.
Wow.
They had my seat, and I was like, this is crazy.
Wow.
This is actually what we want. That's
That's going to be the new.
Right, so now they know, okay, there's a black female woman who's going to the DR. So therefore, let's start targeting more black female women going to DR, because now you're seeing exactly who's going. But you also have my blackness, which means you have my true image.
Yeah.
So that's the scary part when it comes to the analytics.
Yeah.
That was just for like the clear. I think that was sign up.
Right.
No.
Right.
I mean, my
Go
have,
to the airport faster.
well, but I have that, but no, I was actually getting onto a plane.
It was at the gate. Wow.
Plane, that was scary.
Yeah. like you said, that's, you know, you bring up a good point about, you know, reading the terms and conditions, but, you know, it's that little fun, you're like, I just want this app, but things like that. Yeah.
They're following you.
Yeah, they want to crowdsource that data.
Well, all of those, yeah. But like sometimes when you're just, Googling stuff, I just hit no sometimes. Like, do you want to follow? Is it okay for us to follow? Because we know why they're doing it, but they've been doing it. Because how many of us have been having a conversation about something?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So they've been doing it, and they're going to continue to do it because it's good marketing tools.
And I'm going to talk about it a little bit later too. But not at that level, but at the level that, you know, is feasible for us. But absolutely, that's a really good point. Absolutely. They're crowdsourcing that data, and they're going to use it. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes. And then I'll just say also too, outside of digital, surveys still work. So if you have an audience that's not so digital, paper surveys, and you know, I always think that an incentive works with surveys. So, you know, if this is something you can offer, I don't know, but it's to kind of help people take out that 5 or 10 minutes to do a survey, but that's certainly an option to collect data too. Well, very good point. Yes, very good point. Absolutely. Yep. Do you mind, what platform are you using? SurveyMonkey, Google Forms? Okay. JotForm. Google Forms, okay. I was just going to say Google Forms is free and it's real easy to use. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
The drop downs, there are more drop downs instead of me just having to push buttons so people can go drop downs.
Okay, cool.
I haven't gotten my approval to start the research yet, but that is how we're going to do the research because of COVID, I don't have to sit and look at it, I can just do it.
Nice. Thank you for bringing that up. Good point. All right. So we've done goal, audience. This is leading us into which channels of communication to use. And so I've just listed a few. Again, this is not limited. It definitely goes beyond this, but I'm just talking the basics. Press media, press release, media advisory. If you're trying to get your message out to the masses through different outlets, so you have press and media. Social media, which we've been talking about, and some of the different channels there. And again, going back to where are your demographics? What would be the best channel based on the demographics that you're trying to reach? And then within social media, organic traffic, which is like your posts, your stories that you don't pay for versus paid ads. A lot of the different channels are offering paid advertising and promoting that. I've seen now, TikTok is trying to promote ads. They're very expensive though, but maybe they'll come down eventually because they kind of just started in the last year or so, but we'll see. Uh-huh.
Paid ads, what does that mean? Because I was just thinking about, so if I do a post and then I pay for it to boost, are you talking about that or are you talking about?
Yep, and I'm going to go into that in the next slide.
It's by clicks. So you don't have to pay $500. You're going to say clicks. And so basically how many clicks. And then you can say, I'm going to spend $10 on today. And once you get your $10, you're done.
Yep. We can go more into it on the next slide too, but thank you. Yeah. Subscribers, members only. For example, in an email newsletter.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
One of the problems I have is capturing emails.
Yeah.
And that is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
Where do I capture the emails from?
So it's so funny because I didn't think it would work like it did, but it did. So I'm gonna share this example. But I help organize a festival in Annapolis. I don't know if you've ever been to the Kunta Kinte Heritage Festival. Yay! So it's an annual festival, and I was playing around on our website, and we've always had the subscription box at the bottom where they can put in their email and subscribe. But I put up the feature where as soon as the website comes up, it says subscribe. And I thought people would click the X. No, people were putting in their emails, and they just started. Let me show you. Let me see if I can show you.
There's several ways that you can score your, there's like MailChimp, Constant Contact.
I know we use Constant Contact, I was just getting those.
Yeah.
So you go to the website. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No.
So the website comes up, but then that comes up.
Yeah. And a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of websites are doing that
Yeah.
now, like like if you go on shopping,
And yes, an offer.
yeah, offer something
Yes.
free or
Yes,
or,
absolutely.
Can you do me a favor and start it over again? 'Cause I have
Oh,
to
sure.
send this to my web.
Okay, sure. I thought people would be annoyed, like I said, and just click the X, but they're putting in their email address. It was funny. Yeah. So that's one thing. Yeah, it was in September. It just was a few weeks ago. Yeah. It's
What was it, 20, how many years has it been
32.
wow.
Oh yeah, that's yeah. Yeah. Trying to think, I think it would be the 23rd for 23. Yay! Yes! Yes! Absolutely. Thank you. So that's one thing. Just thinking just off the top of my brain, but you can work in subscribing to your newsletter and to your content on your channels. To not assume that everybody that's following you is also on your newsletter. And there are also some linked features. So I'll say with a newsletter that I'm working on, you can connect it with your LinkedIn, and then it creates a link. It shares on LinkedIn as a post, takes them to your newsletter. Now that depends on what service you're using for your newsletter, but feel like that's mostly what you know, it's the social share option is what it should be. Yeah. But yeah, we could talk about that more too. Yeah, because that is a challenge. All right. And then printed marketing materials, brochures, rack cards, mailed newsletters. Yeah, interesting, especially if you have an older demographic, you want to build that in. And just one thing I've been thinking about lately is, for ease and efficiency, creating digital collateral that can easily translate to printed, but you know, it's just something to think about when you're planning, and if you have limited resources, you know, how can I use this over and over? Because I don't go into it here, but the other thing to kind of think about as you're creating your content, if it's imagery or graphics, different social media channels use different sizes. Instagram is more of a square. They do have the different, it's 3 different dimensions, but square is best for Instagram, which works for Facebook. So if you want to do both, you might as well just do it square, or it's like a rectangle. I think it's 19:6 is the dimensions, a rectangular that can work for both. But if you have kind of like a taller photo, Not going to work for an Instagram post. It'll work for a story. So that's something to think about. All right. Anything that anybody would want to add as far as channels of communication? Like I said, it's not a finite list, but.
LinkedIn? Oh, you mean?
Well, we were talking about LinkedIn as a social media channel. Mm-hmm. All right.
My Instagram and Facebook somehow got connected together. I didn't.
They're the same company.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you don't want
You can,
to,
yeah.
turn it off.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, it does it easier. Yeah,
If
it
you
does.
post on Facebook, you'll see a little Instagram thing before you post, and you can turn it on and off. On that
You
way.
can turn it on and off inside Facebook, then your system can profile.
Yeah.
You can just do it.
If you want none of your posts to go.
Both at the same time.
Right.
45.
On your paid ads, I hear people saying between YouTube, I'm sorry, not YouTube, Facebook versus Google AdWords. What would you say is best, I guess?
I think it depends on your goal. So just to thank you for joining, but we were talking about goal and audience, and now we're talking about channels. So it depends on your goal. Let's see. I was working with a client who, oh yes, this worked. I was working with a client. She had a wellness company, and she was doing a webinar, a women's financial webinar. And we decided to use Google Ads. And it was like one of my first time working with Google Ads. I was doing videos, but I didn't do AdWords. And what's really great about Google is they really want you to use them, so they have consultants for you. So I work with a consultant. Yeah, so know that that's available because they want your money. They want your money for ads. And so he gave me some guidance, and basically what you do is, you craft the message, but it really gives you a template. So it's really plug and play. You want to really, this is where it's key with your audience development. You want the keywords that are going to be of interest so that it shows up on those search results. And she got a lot of leads from the Google AdWords. And it was just one of the little banner ones. It wasn't a picture, it wasn't a video. I was a little skeptical, I'll say, but no, because it came up on something that they were interested in, free webinar, women's finance. Oh, what do I have to lose? Click. So Google AdWords, they do work. You just want to make sure your keywords are good. And the consultant will help. They'll help you. Versus Facebook, Instagram, in my opinion, you definitely want a visual. So if you have something that's video, still images that you really want to portray, yeah, Google AdWords is not really going to work. But Facebook and Instagram, in my experience, is cheaper. So yeah, I'll just start here. So paid advertising. So yeah, organic traffic versus paid advertising. Paid advertising is a great way to reach a new audience or retarget a current audience. So I'll touch on what you were saying about how the products follow you. There is a way to do that. It's called retargeting, and you do need to set up some analytics. It's called, one in particular is called a Facebook Pixel. So you can install a Facebook Pixel. It's a code that Facebook gives you. You install it on your website. It then tracks your website user behavior. So when a person goes to add to cart, or even you can set it like if one of the behaviors you want to track is if they just visit your website, they can then see your ad that you tie to that pixel on other sites or just later. So for example, I was working with she was selling candied apples. And so I'm kind of trying to do, top level view, but you have two ads if you're trying to reach a new audience. And let me take a step back. With retargeting, what's key is that you have a cold audience and a hot audience. Your cold audience are people that don't know you. Your hot audience are people that know you. But you can create hot from cold by retargeting. They're going to keep seeing your stuff. And that's going to provide a higher return on investment. You know, you're coming at them. You're not going to let them forget, you know, but you're not going to be overbearing. There's ways you can control that. Facebook will tell you when the same person is seeing your ad. Not individually, but it gives you a factor to say, okay, now it's like they're seeing it twice. Your overall. So then you're like, you know what, let me chill on this ad. You know, they let you know, they give you factors like that. But yeah, the retargeting will help with them in taking action. Because if you think, I mean, yeah, how often do you take immediate action, especially if you're not familiar with a brand or service? You may think about it. You may even get to the cart and like, you know what, let me think about it. If it comes up again, it's going to prompt you. I don't have it on here, but another thing that comes to mind, there's a marketing image. It asks the question, it's so that you're not misled by certain data. So basically the first image is like, so it's a person and they clicked on a social media ad and they made a purchase. So then the people say, oh, social media ads are our main driver, but what they're not factoring in are the billboards, the commercials, everything else that they're ingesting that's helping to them making that final click and purchase. So just want to keep that in mind as well. But yeah, the more that they're exposed to you, the better. So yeah, that's retargeting, and that is available. You just have to set up pixels and things like that. But yeah, paid advertising can be relatively cheap. So Facebook and Instagram, you can start a campaign for $5 a day and adjust from there. You might even have to go down. You might want to go up. It'll tell you approximately as you're setting up your ad, how many people you're going to potentially reach a day. And like you mentioned, you're only paying for the actual clicks or views or whatever your goal is based, because they even break it down by goal. You know, they walk you through it. Is your goal is it brand awareness? Do you want people that are going to take action and click? They can even break it down by people's behaviors and put you in front of the audience that's going to most benefit you. So then what I'm going to say is, so along those lines, rely on the metaverse to find your audience for you. They're going to help you using the data that they have. But I will also point out, so when you click Boost Posts, that is a different set of options than when you go into the Meta Suite. It's not going to be the same. It's almost like a different layer. Boost is really quick and easy though. And it's going to help you, you can pick your demographics, the city, trying to think what else, because that's city, age, radius, yeah. How many miles outside of Baltimore do you want to hit? Yep. So I won't say don't boost. Boost is quick and easy, but when you really want to get granular, then you need to go into the Meta Suite. So just want to let you know that, because they don't make it obvious, really. They don't. I'm going to maybe, No, go ahead.
But why do sometimes, when you try to boost, it like blocks you? I mean, they say like, you cannot boost at this time or something. Or, I've had that like a few times.
Because they look at certain things within the ad itself.
Right, yeah, they do say something about that.
Okay.
It's all about the ad. So they,
If it's too wordy.
it can be too wordy, there can be a word in there they don't.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yes.
flag,
Mhm.
so, and that's why you have to kind of go through. So the less words is always better.
It is the best, yeah. Put it in your caption. Yeah. I was kind of dealing with that balance actually with the symposium, because you want to make sure that there's attractive information there, because they might not read the caption, but at the same time, too many words, you just space out and scroll. So it's like a good balance that you want. But yeah, sometimes just imagery and then just put the rest in the caption. Yep. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I did encounter that, but I don't boost too much these days, but thank you, yeah. All right. Okay, I'm gonna just, if you don't mind, I'm gonna speed up just a little bit for time, but please ask questions. Okay, so then what is your value? And this can be based on your mission, your vision, your organization's objectives or strategic plan. And so in the presentation, like we've gone through what's your goal, who's your audience, what's your channel, but I kind of wrap the value and need together in this. So what is your value? What problem are you solving? And that's what you want to communicate, because the audience, you may think it's obvious to you, but it might not be obvious to your audience. So you want to let them know what need are you meeting for them. And again, so that it's mutually beneficial. All right. Okay, so just kind of wrapping up, and it's a little bit of reiterating, but also just some new points. While crafting your message or your content, remember to convey your value, and you can be very clear about that. Be very clear about your ask. What action do you want them to take? What step do you want them to take? You want to make it as easy to navigate as possible, because people's attention spans are short these days, and they will abandon the cart, or whatever it is. And make it as clear as possible to understand, and be authentic. You might hear that a lot, but it's true. People do appreciate behind the scenes, origin stories, testimonials. You're talking about testimonials. People are going to be able to connect with that, and it's going to resonate. And I would always say, get a second set of eyes on it. Whether it's proofreading, or like we were talking about, when you are stepping into the shoes of that profile, you may not fully get it. You're in it, so you know it, but if you can show it to somebody that doesn't know it, they may take it a different way. So especially like with an ad that you're going to be paying, I would say get a second set of eyes on it. But yeah. All right, so these are some of the resources that I love and rely on, and that are easy to use and free. Most of them. Some of them are paid, but they are cost effective relatively. Canva, web-based graphic design tool. There is a free version available, but there are more features for paid. But there is a way for nonprofits to get the premium version for free.
Oh, is there?
Yes. It's just a long application, but it's doable. It's doable. It is doable. So I'm trying to remember how to get there, but it's there. Graphic Zoo is a flat rate monthly subscription service. It's basically like having a graphic design team. And so based on the level that you pay, you can have like 2 open projects at a time. So it's not like you can submit for 10 things at a time. You can just have 2, but as it's done, then you close it and you open up a new thing. The only thing I would say about this, the challenge is like you can't call them up and explain. You're writing it all out. It's all submitted electronically. But they give you a form to fill out. You submit your logo. You let them know what colors you want. Depending upon but it's all written communication. WeVideo is a beginner-level cloud-based video editing tool. So if you're not into, what's the one on the Apple? I don't even know what it's called because I use WeVideo. But yeah, it makes it simple and easy to navigate when you're doing video editing. And it has features like you can put words on videos, add sounds in the background. So it helps you with layers, because they do the layers in like this 3. So it's like video, text, audio. Yeah, and they have some videos to help you too. Fiverr is a freelance marketplace where people that have goods and services, almost like, I don't know if anybody remembers Craigslist gigs, but it's like virtual Craigslist gigs. I've had success. I've had some unsuccess, but they have basically the profile of their work, the examples of their work. Again, it is all written communication. You can't call them up, so that's just one challenge. But a lot of times the gigs will offer, they have different levels, and if you have unlimited revisions, you just keep going over it till you get what you need. So that's Fiverr, and it's things like graphic design, building websites, voice actors, is almost you name it at this point.
You know what? You can find a lot of them on Instagram, but I found well, it's like on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Graphics and everything. It was actually very cheap, very cheap.
Oh, nice.
So,
Oh, that's nice.
And then I would have to work on, so I sent all this freelance marketplace on because I clicked on him, a whole bunch of stuff started popping up from other people with freelance stuff.
Yeah.
And they were cheap.
Oh, nice. Cool. Virtual assistants, so that's paid, but it could be low-cost support for projects. If you need administrative support, they could do your social media posting for you, things like that. And you can find virtual assistants on Fiverr, so they're on there too. But there's also TaskRabbit. I use a service called the Buddy Effect. It's not cheap though, so I'm gonna probably switch, but but it's very good help. Easy Media List. So that's going back to like the press and media. They have downloadable lists of media contacts, and you could choose it by region. So like I recently downloaded the Maryland one. It was all the Maryland newspapers and some websites, and it was less than $50. I remember.
My region and like just true region, so I can say Prince George County instead of
So if you pull up, if I remember correctly, if you pull up Maryland, you can check and uncheck the actual newspaper. So you can keep, the PG County ones, and that takes the price down. Yeah. But just a note, media context, it's constantly changing. So, it's every now and then you might need to download the new list. And then Wix, like I mentioned before, is my go-to for website building because you don't have to know code. You can know code and you can put code in there, but you don't have to know code. It's put a square over here, put a picture over here, put a video over here. It's really easy to use, and it has built-in marketing options. So with Wix, there are different levels too on the services they offer, but you can send your email newsletter. So like the kuntakinte.org website, once they put in their email address, that is in Wix, and I can just send the email newsletter to those subscribers.
Okay, so, but do you use Wix as your domain? Are they hosting your domain? Is that part? Okay, I do it if I have someone else hosting my domain.
I think they offer that option,
They do, okay.
but you don't have to. I don't think you.
So I can use my domain.
Yeah, it's just more money.
Or just
Yep.
add Wix to it to send the thing.
Yep, you just pay a little more for that, but it shouldn't be, but yeah. Yep, you can keep your domain.
Question.
Yeah.
Well, one, this is blowing my mind. Thank you. So I feel
Sure.
like
Oh, good.
Flintstone car with a stone. That's the type of marketing I'm doing now. It's good to see what the goals are. But if you're using virtual assistants or Fiverr, my mind went to what is the process for sort of onboarding and like give them the website passcode? Like, what does that process look like? Is it super involved or is it?
Yeah, there's a level of trust there, but that's why I like to use this versus maybe just hiring somebody directly. I mean, if it's somebody of course, but like with Fiverr, there is a level of security there because Fiverr has vetted them. And same with like the virtual assistant companies, they've been vetted. So I'm actually working up my trust, but I'm with you. For example, like it would be helpful if my virtual assistant could like buy stuff for me. So I try to get like a reloadable, but they wanted me to register and I was like, no. So I think I'm just gonna do like a Visa gift card so she could buy stuff online, but it's just, a set amount on there versus giving her my credit card number, but I mean, it should be trustworthy and I know people that have done that, but there's, gift cards.
So are you using a virtual assistant to what you come with?
So I didn't put it up there because like I said, to me it's a bit expensive, but it's called the Buddy Effect, yeah. But it's good. The Buddy Effect. And it's US based. So, I mean, there's kind of that element too where I've had friends that use overseas virtual assistants and they are significantly less expensive. But yeah, the Buddy Effect is US based. Anybody else have anything to add to this list that they know of that I need to know about?
One of the things you didn't talk about was social media planning software, like Hootsuite and all those things. Because I know I use a lot of that just because it makes it a heck of a lot more easier.
That's true.
Dump them all out in 1 week and then wait.
I'm gonna write that down.
Hootsuite. There's Hootsuite. There's
Later.com.
Buffer.
Okay.
Planoly. And there's a couple of them. I like Hootsuite.
Okay. So to just explain and expand upon what you're talking about, there are sites that allow you to have all of your what's available on there, but all, if not most, of your social media channels in one place where you can just post from one place. So you don't have to just post from Facebook, just post from LinkedIn. Just, it's all in one place. And scheduled, yes.
Scheduled at different times and just let it flow.
Yeah.
Take an hour or so, hour or two to
Yes.
all, done and scheduled, but then I don't have to worry about it for a whole lot.
Oh, great point. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah.
I found out something
Yes.
recently called TechSoup. T-E-C-H soup.
Tech Soup, okay.
And it's for
ECH.
SOUP.
And it's a technology platform for nonprofits. And
You
they
have to be verified before you can
say it one more time.
You have to be verified.
Yeah,
that
the
you are
nonprofit has to be verified. It's for nonprofits only, and they offer really cheap technology things like QuickBooks,
Mm.
training for the Microsoft. Yeah, it's pretty good. And then they offer like different consultants that will do like your website and stuff like that as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Tech Soup. I wrote that down.
I don't know if that's what we're doing next, but like for some nonprofit that you don't have all the resources, meaning you don't have all the team to do all the work.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, I have to do a lot of team for my church. But
Yes.
I have the background in technology that helps me, but it doesn't make it easier. So I do stuff like, Buffer and all of that to help me to post. And then I can do like a whole month, not a whole month,
Mhm.
sometimes
Yeah.
3 weeks worth of posts. And then that can be helpful, create the stuff on Canva. If you save them, if you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you just one whole list and you print it out from Canva and you can put it on all of the social media and post them in that book. So you don't have to make them, you don't have to go back month after month, week after week.
Yeah.
And create them, you just put them all in Buffer and then they post it for you. You have Buffer.
I gotta write that down. Buffer.
I don't like Hootsuite anymore. They start giving
That's I did stop using I stopped using Hootsuite. Yeah.
free a long time ago.
Yeah.
Not that free anymore. And you know what? Facebook is doing it. If you're using only Facebook and Instagram, you can't post from Twitter from there. Like Facebook does scheduling.
Mhm.
If you're willing, you can sit down for it will take you maybe an hour or two. And you post all of that stuff, you can carry it in Canva, you can get it on it. But I think we have to come back and engage with the people though. If they put questions
Absolutely.
there.
Absolutely.
But at least you post it, you know what I mean? I think that's also helpful. The virtual assistants is good, they can do that for you. But if you're poor like me, you can try to do it this way.
And then to add, when we're talking about levels of trust, and you were talking about virtual assistants posing, there are different levels of access that you can give to people too. So you don't have to make them a super admin. They can just be a content manager, and they can just post and comment as you. So there are different levels too, if you have people helping you.
And I also create temporary password. If I use someone from Fiverr to do something for me, I create a whole new password. You give them that password to use at the time that they have. And once I know they're finished, I change my password out to something that I have before or something new. So I have to create temporary password and give them temporary password. I mean, as a rule of thumb, we all should be changing our password every 6 months on certain smartphones. Especially Facebook, because if you don't do that, oh
Yeah.
my goodness, I can't even get in all that detail right now. But you have to change your password every 6 months for us to
Good point.
And if you're doing it for your organization, create some And you know, we have to do ethical activity in the summer, but that doesn't mean that a person's gonna say, I'm not gonna do this.
Yeah.
And it's fun to try to break into your account.
Wow. Thank you for that.
Give them a temporary password and change their password right after. Or you can have an original, create something temporary, and when you finish, you go back to using the original password. At least that's what I do. You know, sometimes I'll think of something like, oh, I gotta change my paper password. And then you go and change it.
Really good point. Thank you for that. Yeah. Just a time check. I didn't realize I was going so slow, maybe, but I'm a little over time. But the only thing I really had left was Q&A, and so yeah, I'm not able to do the activity. But I just want to show you, because I can. If you want to give me your email address, I can email it to you. But I just wanted to go over. Where is it? When we were talking. Let me try to pull it over. The goal, the audience, the channels you'll use. If you want to, I can email. Why isn't this moving? I can email this to you if you want. But this is going to be a handout. But yeah, what's your goal? Who's your audience? What channels will you use? And what's your value? To help you craft that strategic communications. So yeah, unfortunately, yeah, I'm over time. But if you want to hang out, if you have questions, yeah. Oh, good. Good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thanks.